Hi, this is the Business Guy. I'm with Michael here. He's a Swiss banker, and we're just going to ask a little bit about Swiss banking in general, and we'll get it straight from an expert. So, not only does Michael live in Switzerland, but he is also a U.S. attorney, licensed in what states?
New York and Washington State.
New York and Washington State. He grew up partially in Europe and mostly in Seattle, Washington, but now he's a Swiss banker, and he works with a lot of our clients. They're an expert money management team, and I must say our clients have just been extremely pleased and happy with the returns they're getting, the safety, the professionalism. It's just been top notch. I mean, it's just the type of arrangement we like to have where our clients are just taken care of incredibly. Now, tell me about the safety of Swiss banking, Michael. I'll put my sunglasses on here.
Absolutely. Switzerland is known for its safety and stability, especially in the banking sector. The private banks we work with, they've been around for hundreds of years, without exaggerating. They started operations in the mid of the 18th century. They have persevered all the world wars and all of the cataclysmic events that the world has observed since then. And they offer a lot of privacy, confidentiality, stability. Really just the clients receive this peace of mind that their assets in a safe and reliable place.
Yeah, so people that aren't familiar with international banking, if you look up, there's an organization that ranks the world's safest banks, and as of the latest ranking, we see of the 50 safest banks in the world, only one is in the U.S. and it's like number 45 on the list, and so people think U.S. for our U.S. clients, that is. U.S. banking safe, offshore banking dangerous, and it's scary. But actually, when you look at the statistics, the safest banks in the world are not in the U.S. Again, out of the top 50, only one is in the U.S. and it's clear down toward the bottom of the list. And some of the safest banks on the list are in Switzerland. What is it about Swiss banking that makes the bank so safe and secure?
That's a good question. I mean, it's really the environment that those banks are located in. Switzerland is a neutral country. It provides very strong regulations, compliance frameworks. So when we have clients coming from different parts of the world, and specifically from the United States, we go through a vigorous process of compliance and making sure that the client is exactly in line with what the banks expect and what the regulation is, which actually serves for a better purpose for the client.
Right.
But in general, the banks that we work with, the private banks, those are unlimited partnerships. They're not limited liability corporations.
Yeah.
So they are personally liable for everything that is in their bank.
Yeah.
So that means for our clients' asset, they can feel safe that their assets are taken care of the same way that the bank's assets are taken care of. And number two, which I like to bring all the time when I speak to clients, is the segregated accounts.
Yeah.
When you have an investment account in Switzerland, your investments are not on the bank's balance sheet. They're off the balance sheet, which makes really the safety and reliability as the number one priority of those banks.
Yeah, let me interpret that. What that means is in the U.S. there's fractional reserve banking. So if you deposit $1 in, say, Bank of America, they can lend out 10 because of the fractional reserve banking system. Where in Switzerland, when we have our clients' money managed by a money manager in Switzerland, their money is just their money. It's not lent out, and they make money on just reasonable money management fees, just like there's money managers in the U.S. charge reasonable fees, and it's very, very reasonable. And so instead of getting deposits and then lending it out 10x in Switzerland, it's dollar for dollar managed when it's under this management structure like Michael's expert team. And one thing I've noticed when I go to the international conferences, like our team does from time to time, I notice that the most polished and professional people at those conferences, you can recognize a Swiss banker. It's polished, professional. It's just part of the culture because banking is the number one industry in Switzerland. Polished, professional, poised, and it's how banking safety and professionalism and timeliness is just baked into the culture.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So as far as the we get a lot of clients, and we refer them to Michael's team for money management. What is the process of opening up a Swiss bank account? I mean, I know the answer, but tell our audience.
Of course. Well, first and foremost, I speak to the clients that have already or working on their asset protection structures, because Swiss banking at the end of the day is really the optimization of the asset protection structure. Yeah. The process itself really entails in-depth conversation between me and the client. I try to understand, and our team at BFI, we try to understand the client's overall situation, their overall portfolio, so we can be in a better position to provide a solid and sound investment advice. Because we are SEC registered investment advisors, and we create investment portfolios to match the client's expectations, to have to achieve the goals in the long term. But number one is the long-term capital preservation that we keep in mind. We want to make sure that the wealth is preserved and protected in a safe place, the safest places in the world, and grow in the long run. I speak to the clients in depth. I obtain information that most of the time is the same that the trustees and the lawyers limited obtains in the very beginning. Then we establish a game plan in terms of which bank they would like to bank in. Then I approach the bank, we start the account opening, and we serve as the fiduciary of our clients. We help our clients in the onboarding process with the bank. We help them out fill out the application forms for the bank. And once the account is open, the assets are transferred, and we can actually begin the investment process.
Yeah, and the Swiss banking, it's not like a 007 movie. It's very very regulated. They don't accept everybody. I mean, if somebody's has sufficient capital and has is reputable, that we get the accounts open almost 100% of the time. But it's not like the spy movies where there's funny business going on. If there's funny business going on, the bank won't take their account, and U.S. people are taxed on worldwide income, so it's expected that someone is going to comply with the tax laws. So it's very regulated, structured, safe, and and it's legally required that the banks vet the clients for legal source of funds, tax compliance, and other things that make sure that the reputation of Switzerland and the integrity and the lawfulness, obeying the law and doing what's right, integrity is number one. Integrity, client safety of their funds, those are the big priorities.
Absolutely, yes.
Another thing Michael mentioned on asset protection, just having a Swiss bank account alone is not enough for asset protection, because somebody has a Swiss bank and a judge can say, well, I force you to bring the money from the Swiss bank back here and pay your creditor. So just having a Swiss bank is not enough for asset protection from lawsuits. It needs to be put in the proper structure, such as an international company owned by an international trust, so that our law firm can step in to say, they can step in to protect you when needed. So the U.S. courts say, give me the money. Our international law firms can say, hey, you don't have jurisdiction here. So it's for asset protection from lawsuits. It's a Swiss bank account plus the proper legal tools that hold the account on your behalf. And as far as and it's not just this 0.5% interest or whatever the number is that team seems to fluctuate, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5% interest. A money managed account would be like, I'm not holding you to it, and I know you can't make any promises. But if you look over, say, a 20-year period, and again, not holding you to it, what if you find is a typical return? Typical.
It really depends, and I have to evoke this type of response to you, because it really depends on the client. It really depends on their goals in the long term. We run the risk management. We run through the different types of securities and investments instrument. The client has an idea or wants to, whether it's more aggressive, higher risk appetite, or a little bit lower risk appetite. The bottom line is this: because the client is coming to Switzerland for asset protection, for jurisdictional diversification, our primary goal is the long-term capital preservation of the client's asset. Preserving the purchasing power of the client's asset so that they don't get eaten by inflation. Fees, so that the assets grow in the long term, and the client is happy with the risk mitigation, with the volatility mediation, so that we are in a position where you can grow from the performance of the markets, but also hedge against the various risks that we see now in the global economy.
Yeah. So I asked a question that is someone in Michael's licensed position has to be careful answering, because you can't make a promise on what somebody's going to attain. But just in my experience, I've seen returns averaging about 8 to 12% typically. That's what I've seen. Michael can't say that. I can say that just from what I've seen. So naturally, in years where the S&P 500 is having higher returns, one might receive a higher return. But so over a long period of time, we've seen some, certainly a lot better than what U.S. banks are paying in interest. People are getting in their money managed account. So the 8 to 12% is very, 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 very conservative, and I'd rather stay on the conservative side. But the key thing is safety, and the idea is for your money to grow. And we've had excellent experiences. Our clients have been extremely happy. So any closing words, Michael?
I think that, as you said in the beginning, this is nothing like people may imagine with the James Bond and the Swiss banking. These times have been long gone.
Yeah, true.
What we really need to understand is that Swiss banking is a must for clients who want to decrease their risk and overexposure to, for example, the US dollar or the US markets, and wants to diversify. Yeah. Really, it's a matter of diversification of their overall portfolio in the United States. And Switzerland is the best place to do it. There are other jurisdictions that, clients can think of, like Dubai and Singapore. But the fact of the matter is, these are new jurisdictions, relatively new.
That is true.
20, 30 years maybe at most. Switzerland has been there for hundreds of years. And it has had a very successful rate in terms of stability and safety. So, closing remarks, I think it's definitely a must to have a Swiss bank account for diversification and optimization of asset protection.
Yeah, we've been setting up Swiss accounts for about 25 years. And so if you want to set up a Swiss account, you can go ahead and give us a call at 1-954-400-1050. You can visit assetprotectionplanners.com. And we can connect you with Michael to get your Swiss bank account open, set up an asset protection structure that's right for you, and appreciate you watching. Make sure to subscribe so you can see more videos like this. We appreciate you watching. This is The Business Guy.